Hey everyone, happy Satur-YAY. It's Carissa Wiley. Thanks for joining me. We are celebrating the weekend by getting our craft on, and today I'm going to be using some products from Alexandra Ranke. This is a new line to the Ellen Hudson shop, and there are so many beautiful products. Now, we had never heard of this company until we found them at Creativation this year, and it was one of our top picks from Creativation. They have some beautiful products. They do have stamps, and here's a look at a couple of the stamp sets here. They also have some stencils, but what really caught our eye were the beautiful die designs. These die designs are just so intricate and beautiful. You can see I'm holding up that beautiful word die there. Now I'm going to flip through the ones I have here, and I did want to point out that sometimes the packaging comes flipped out. At least it did for me, and it was in German, but don't worry, it's in English on the inside. This one here is shown at 65%, so it is much larger when you take it out of the package. But for the most part, as noted on the bottom left-hand corner, these die cut designs are shown at 100%. Now, I know sometimes working with intricate dies can be a little bit challenging, so what I wanted to do today was go through several tips for working with intricate dies. And my first tip is to start with a lighter weight cardstock. Rather than jumping to my Nina 110-pound cardstock, today I'm going to be using the 80-pound version. And I'm also going to be using some new cardstocks from the Essentials by Ellen line. This is Slate Gray, Oyster Gray, and Ebony Black. And these cardstocks are beautiful. They are smooth and they are 100 pounds, so they're just perfect. Now, my second tip is to put adhesive on the back of your cardstock prior to die cutting. This makes it really easy to adhere these intricate die cuts to your project. Now, if you don't have something like a stick-it adhesive, you can use a Xyron sticker maker, and I will show you that in today's video tutorial. But my favorite way is to use the stick-it adhesive on the back of my cardstock prior to die cutting. Now, you wouldn't want to run your paper through that Xyron sticker maker prior to die cutting. That's for after, and I'll show you that here in just a bit. But I'm going to start out by cutting my stick-it adhesive down and applying it to the entire back side of all of these different colors of cardstock so that I'm all ready to go. And it's a good idea to keep some adhesive back cardstock on hand just so you have it ready to go, especially in commonly used colors like these. So you can see I've added all of the adhesive to the back of my cardstocks here, and we're going to get to die cutting. Now, I know that not everybody has the Gemini. The Gemini Junior was designed to have even cutting surface across the entire thing, and I get really great results when I'm cutting intricate dies. But for those of you that have the Big Shot, I'm going to show you die cutting in there as well and give you some tips for making sure that you get great results. So another tip is that you want to look at your plates and make sure that they're not too warped. Warping will alter the amount of pressure you get as you run it through your die cut machine. So if you're having a hard time, you may want to replace your plates and see if that doesn't help. My next tip is to use a metal shim. Now, the metal shims are used differently from machine to machine. And in the Big Shot, it actually goes outside of your sandwich. So here I have my platform, my metal shim, my cutting pad, my paper, my dies with the blade down, and my second cutting pad, and I'm going to run it through the die cut machine. And you can see when I remove my paper that I have beautifully cut, intricate die cuts here. So with the Big Shot, the metal shim is actually outside the cutting plate sandwich. For the Gemini Junior, the metal shim is within the cutting plate sandwich, and you're actually going to cut into that metal shim. So you're going to start out with your first cutting pad, then your metal shim, then your paper, then your dies blade side down, and then you're going to finish out your sandwich with your plastic shim, your magnetic shim, and your second clear cutting plate. And as you can see, I got great results with all of these dies. Now, my next tip is a couple of tools that I recommend. The first one is the pokey tool, as we've all come to know it as. It is the Tim Holtz craft pick, or any other kind of piercing tool will work for this, but this is great for pushing through those ejection holes and removing your die cut from the die if it's remaining inside of the die. You can see I just used it to kind of poke it out there. And my next recommendation is a die brush. Now, these die brushes can be used to remove pieces from intricate dies, those little like kind of hanging chads. that are within your intricate dies, but it can also be used to remove those extra pieces from the inside. So you can see I placed it on a microfiber cloth, my die cut. I rolled over it and it pushed out all of those inside pieces and left them stuck on that microfiber cloth so that I don't have to poke them out one by one. So my next tip is that if you're still not getting great results, you've used a shim, you have great plates, try running your die through at an angle. A lot of times we want to run it through either kind of straight horizontally or straight vertically, but sometimes you get a better cut when you run it through at an angle. So if you've tried everything else and you're not getting great results, try that angle trick. Now, I did want to show you how to use the Xyron sticker maker. You're going to drop your intricate die into that channel. Keep in mind it has to fit within that area that the little Xyron X sticker maker gives you. You're going to pull it out the other side and you have this kind of backing and a topper over it. You're going to want to rub all over this. I even like to take a stylus and go around my die cut before I remove the top layer. And that just keeps me from getting extra adhesive everywhere and just make sure that I have it really well kind of secured to the back of that die cut. So we've done a lot of die cutting and it's time to make a card out of this. I am going to use this large kind of linen texture, kind of mini backdrop stamp. This is from the accentuation areas from Alexandra-Rinke. And I am going to stamp it onto some watercolor cardstock with some Versamark ink and then coat it with clear embossing powder and heat it until it's melted. And you can't see it now, but as I add some watercolor over the top, you're gonna really see that texture pop out. And by the way, for this card base here, it's actually a card front cut to A2 size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I am using the Ranger watercolor cardstock. For my watercolor, I'm actually just using 2 Catherine Pooler inks. I'm using the polished and the Bellini colors, and I smashed it onto my craft mat there and picked it up with an aqua brush or a water brush to paint it right over that stamped and embossed area. Now, my next tip for working with intricate die cuts is to stack them up to achieve dimension. Unless you want to go crazy, and sometimes, I'm a little crazy too, you don't want to try to put foam adhesive on something this thin and this intricate. You're just going to go crazy. So instead, I recommend die cutting several of these from the adhesive back cardstock and stacking them one on top of the other in order to achieve dimension. Now you can see my first one, I actually placed it into the negative portion of the die cut so that I could maintain the original shape of the die as I'm stacking these up. And you can see I have some really beautiful dimension by stacking up about 4 of those. Now I'm kind of trying to put my card layout together here, and I decided I wanted a little sub-sentiment here. So I'm going to white heat emboss this You Make My World. This is from the Sparkle stamp set from the Essentials by Ellen Line. So the card will read, You Make My World Beautiful. So all of my elements are created and ready, and now I'm going to assemble the card. And in order to adhere these die cuts, I don't have to deal with any liquid glue or anything like that. I can just remove the backer from that stick-it adhesive that we placed on the back and that we die cut through, and then just place my die cuts right onto my card front. That banner sentiment there, I adhered that on using a little bit of foam tape, and now I'm going to take this beautiful word that I stacked up, several of them, to add some dimension, and I'm going to add it to my card front. And you can see I'm using tweezers here, and I think that's a great tip for using these intricate die cuts, is to use some tweezers to kind of get your hands out of the way and get a better grip on these little intricate dies. Now I decided I wanted that little rectangle frame, which is also an Alexandra-Rinke die, to be gold. So I colored it with a gold pen and I adhered it right over the top of that white frame that I had there. And then I placed my beautiful word back in place. And I'm going to finish off the card front by adding some sparkling clear sequins here. Now, I thought the beautiful needed something a little more, so I die cut it out of the slate gray rather than the oyster gray cardstock, and I placed that on top of my die cut stack there. And I think that was really what this beautiful die cut needed in order for it to really pop a little bit more. And I love working with intricate, beautiful dies like this because you can really keep your cards clean and simple and let these beautiful, intricate dies take center stage on your card design. So there you have it, several tips for working with these intricate dies and getting great results every time, and a look at the new Alexandra Rinky line, which we're so thrilled to welcome to the Ellen Hutson store. As always, I will have links to the featured products in the description at YouTube, but head on over to the Coordinating Classroom blog post, and I'll link that in the description below, because over there I'll have more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies used in this project. Thanks for stopping by today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any of our paper crafting video tutorials. Thanks for watching. Happy Satur-YAY, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.